Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we are doing lesson D. This is a reading lesson. So in your book, it's page 76 and 77. Okay, so lesson D is reading and vocabulary. Let's take a look. We're going to be reading about technology. We have been talking about using grammar to talk about some people who use technology and some people who do not, okay? So today we're going to read about the impact of technology. I do have for you a list of vocabulary words and their colors, and I'm going to make a separate video so you can watch just that video and practice with the vocabulary. But we're going to listen to this reading. I would like you to read along and listen at the same time. So before we start, think about how has technology changed transportation over the years? By transportation, I mean any way of traveling, cars, trains, airplanes, anything like that. And how has technology impacted the way we communicate with others? How has technology impacted the way we communicate with others? I know with smartphones, a lot of things have changed. I can do almost everything I need to do on my phone, right? This is amazing technology. So we're going to read this. Again, this is about the impact of technology. And impact means the effect. How has technology affected our lives? Has it changed it? Has it made our lives better or worse? That sort of thing. Okay, so let's take a listen. I'm going to put this over here. And if you want to, you can read along here when it's highlighted, or you can read over here on the left if you don't want to do that. Let's see. I think that's big enough. Impact. I don't want to cover up that word classified. Let me make this a little bigger. Okay, the title is The Impact of Technology. Ready? Here we go.
Page 76. Exercise 2.
Changes in technology can change people's lives. The development of transportation, trains, cars, and planes, provides us with one example. Before the 19th century, most people lived within walking distance of work. In the 20th century, many people began to commute between home and work because trains and cars connected cities with suburbs. Today, because of airplanes, many people travel great distances for their work. Some, because of the internet, don't need to travel at all. Technological changes have also impacted the media. For example, how we get the news. Newspapers were once people's primary source for the news. In 1965, 72% of Americans reported that they read a newspaper on an average day. By 2005, that number was down to 50%. In the past, a common way people got news was by listening to the radio. I suppose nearly everyone had a radio then. By the 1950s, television was overtaking radio. Now, even the number of people watching the news on television has declined, dropping from 60% in 1993 to 28% in 2006. So what's the latest source for news? The web. The number of Americans who use the internet to get the news is increasing. Most people access the news on their smartphones. Media has also changed the way we get jobs. We used to look for job openings in the classified ads of a newspaper. Then we'd mail an application through the US Postal Service, now called snail mail by some. Finally, if we were lucky enough to get an interview, we'd go to the job site. Today, we can find notices for jobs online, and we can submit our applications over the internet. The employer can even interview us over the internet using programs such as Skype that provide voiceover and video over calls. These changes save time for both the employer and the applicant. Another example of the impact of technology is how we pay for goods and services. Until the mid-1940s, people had to carry large amounts of cash in their purses and wallets. Then, one day in 1949, a man named Frank McNamara took some business associates to dinner, but he left his wallet at home. He had to call his wife to bring him money to pay the bill. Mr. McNamara vowed to find a way to avoid carrying cash. Although some stores already had their own charge cards, there was no single multi-purpose credit card. A year later, he returned to the same restaurant with the same people, but paid with the credit card he had created, called Diners Club. Today, people don't even need to carry a credit card. They can pay with their smartphones. In what other ways do you think technology may change our lives in the future?
Okay, if you want to, listen again, okay? Rewind the video and listen twice or 3 times. It really helps you to listen again because the first time you get the general idea and then the second time you can listen for more details. Okay, let's do these questions up here to make sure we can see the questions well enough. You might want to open your PDF of your book, all right? I'll try and move not too much. So over here it says, in what 4 areas does the author provide examples of how technology has changed people's lives? You can look at the first sentence of each paragraphs. The development of transportation is one example. Technological changes, technology, have also impacted the media. Okay, so transportation, media. Media has also changed the way people get jobs. And another example of technology, how it's changed, is how people pay. So transportation, the media for news, job applications, and how we pay. Those have been impacted. Number 2, what statistics, silver pin statistics, that means numbers and percentages. What statistics does the article give to support the statement that the number of people who get their news through the newspaper has declined, white tie declined? Do they give some numbers? It's right over here. In 1965, 72% of Americans read a newspaper, and in 2005, the number was down to 50. So from 72% to 50% over 40 years, okay? Number 3, according to the author, nearly everyone had a radio in the 1920s. What phrase does the article use that tells you whether this is fact or opinion? Talking about people having radios. So right here, it says, I suppose, should probably be highlighting these for you. I suppose nearly everyone had a radio then. So the word I suppose means I think, or it's my opinion, but it's not a fact, okay? You're just making a good guess. All right, number 4. Here we go. Sometimes text, meaning the words you read, provides examples that help us understand the meaning of a word. This is important for you to know. If you are reading something and you find a word and you say, I don't know that word, many times in English, we will give you the definition or a synonym right after it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few examples. So what examples does this text give for media and transportation? I know you know the word transportation, But this is a great example of how we do this in English. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So if you did not know these words, look right here. The development of transportation. And then you see this little dash, and then you see other words, trains, cars, and planes, provides us with one example. So the sentence is, the development of transportation provides us with one example. What is transportation? Trains, cars, and planes. So when you see this part here, this little dash, sorry, ugh, it's ugly. Let me try again. This dash and this dash, that means that what's between the dashes is an explanation of the word it comes in front. All right, what is transportation? Trains, cars, and planes. This happens again with the word media. Technological changes have also impacted the media. Dash, for example, how we get the news. So news is media. Okay, so just be aware of this process or function that we do in English. Many times we will explain a word, what it means, after the word, so you don't have to use a dictionary. Okay, the article says, some people refer to the US Postal Service as snail mail. This is a funny name because it rhymes. They're both gray, day, snail, gray, day, mail. So what is snail mail? It means regular mail. Before email, electronic mail, the only mail we had was regular mail in your mailbox, right? But it's called snail mail. How are snails and the US mail similar? Well, my mother lives in Boston, and I can mail her a letter and it gets there in 2 days, which I think is amazing because it's 2,000 miles away, and I pay 50 cents and a letter will get to her in 2 days, which is 1,000 miles a day, which seems very fast. But I can also text her and she gets the message 2,000 miles away in 1 second. So electronic mail is super fast. It's instant, right? And putting a letter in the regular mail now seems slow. It seems as slow as a snail, right? So we now call regular mail snail mail because it is so slow. Again, from here to Boston in 2 days is fast, but it's extremely slow compared to email, okay? So if you hear someone say snail mail, they mean regular mail that you put a stamp on and put it in the mailbox. All right, last question. Do you think the author believes that changes in technology have a positive or a negative impact or effect on people's lives? So what do you think overall? Was there anything negative in here? Maybe if the person really likes reading a newspaper, but I didn't get that sense, right? So over here, because of the internet, some people don't need to travel at all. That's good, right? And what about getting their news? Most people can access the news on their smartphones, right? So they don't need to get a newspaper. How about with their jobs? That you can apply over online and you can interview. These changes save time for both the employer and the applicant. That's very positive, right? And then what about paying? Today, people don't even need to carry a credit card. They can pay with their smartphones. That's amazing and very positive. So at the end of each of these paragraphs about transportation, the end of this paragraph about getting news, the end of this paragraph about jobs, and the end of this paragraph about paying, there's a statement about how technology has made our lives easier, and there isn't anyone that's negative. So I believe the author thinks that technology is very positive, has a positive effect on our lives. All right, let's look at this part down here. Here we go. So this is building your vocabulary. We're going to look at these words, but the most important part is to look at, oh, sorry, I was thinking about my other class, which was about negative suffixes. Okay, let's look at this. It says, underline the sentence, determine the part of speech, write it next to the word right here. N is for noun, V is for verb, that sort of thing. And then a definition that fits the context, and then one other definition. So this word here, impact, if you look in your dictionary, force or effect. So sometimes words, it doesn't say it up here, but sometimes words can have more than one definition, which you know. So impact, effect right here, the impact of technology is the effect. But if something like this, if you're in a car accident, the impact of the car against another car means the force of one car against another. That's what it means. Same word. Impact of technology means the effect, and the car impact means the force of that one car. So this word commute, let's take a look. Whoops, they're all here. I can't make this bigger. Okay, I'll put it right here. So commute is a verb. So this should be V for verb. This is blue moon commute. And a commute means to travel back and forth between your house and your work. So someone can ask you, how long is your commute? It means how long does it take you to get to work from your house? And you can say, I have a 20-minute commute. All right. So this verb right here, to travel back and forth, that's the verb. To ride, actually, if it's to travel, it's the verb. If it's travel, it's the noun. So let me show you. Let's see. It's hard for me to write. So this one is travel, right? I'm not going to do this. It looks terrible. I just hope you can see this up here. So travel means it's the noun, it's the distance. The verb here means to ride or drive. Okay, so basically it can be a verb or a noun. You can say, I have a 20-minute commute, or I need to commute to work. Okay, how about source? Source right here, point of origin, this is a noun. So this is orange door source. My news source is NPR or New York Times. It means where do you get it, okay? Sourced, the verb version means I sourced my news from the Washington Post. It means how did you get it? Okay, average. Average, these are adjectives. Adjectives, you know this one, right? Adjective for, average means common, normal, very commonplace, and it also means ordinary, just kind of boring. That movie was just average. It was ordinary, nothing special. Okay, classified. A classified, it says groups here. You can classify things in groups. It means to put things in groups or to categorize it, all right? Classified, it's an adjective. In the context, they're talking about classified ads, which is right here, hang on. Black Cat classified ads, which are advertisements in the newspaper. So classified ads is such a common expression. We don't even say the ads part anymore. We just say, I found it in the classifieds, which means in the newspaper. All right. So to classify, again, means to group together, but classifieds also means ads in the newspaper. And application. An application is a formal request for something. This is a noun. Sorry, this is an adjective. An application, job application, you know, right? It says formal request or a formal form with information, and a document. Same thing, like the application for school is some sort of document. Okay, I don't know if this really helped you, but I want to make sure you understand how those words were used in the story. Okay, so down here, I'm going to have you tell us and answer these questions. What technological change has most impacted your life? How has it affected you? Number 2, do you think paying for goods and services, and just so you know, goods and services always goes together like this. We don't say services and goods, it's always goods and services. Goods are things that you buy, and services are things you pay for to have someone do something. So like a goods, something would be, I buy a new refrigerator is a goods. Services is having my refrigerator fixed. So goods and services, things and paying to have someone fix something. Sorry. So do you think paying for goods and services with smartphones is a good idea? Why or why not? Do you ever use your smartphone to pay for groceries? And then recently, companies have been developing and testing driverless cars. Less means no drivers, cars without drivers. If they become popular, how do you think that will impact jobs? Whose jobs? And how do you think it will impact safety? Do you feel comfortable in a driverless car? Okay, I'm going to have you answer that part in Flipgrid. So please check your homework and get the link for that. And please pay attention to the next short video where I will go over all those vocabulary words. Okay, thanks so much.